All right, we're recording, and this is a video, and we're going to do a series of these or do these regularly so that people have an idea of the different things we're involved in, things of interest going on, updates at large in the world of advocacy, activism, news, politics, what have you. And there's a lot of just really cool things that Meds Cafe supports and gets behind and participates in. And so to start introducing us to some more of that is part of the reason for this as well. And kind of to kick this off, I'm going to concentrate on a couple of organizations that have done a lot of great work that we continue to support and work with. That's the Cannabis Caucus and Michigan Cannabis Freedom Coalition. And, heavily involved in both of those is our guest here today, Marshall Clabeaux. And I know you do so many other things, Marshall. If you want to give yourself a quick introduction, so people have a little bit more of an idea of where you come from, that would be cool. And then we'll talk about some of the work we do with these organizations.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jamie. And, thanks Meds Cafe. Really appreciate, you guys leading the industry and doing the good work. That's super important. The industry gives back to these avenues. And so my name is Marshall Clabeaux, like Jamie said, Lansing, Michigan, resident, and grew up on the west side of the state. I do a lot of work really all over the state, whether it's cannabis activism, renewable energy, Flint, Grand Rapids, Detroit, UP, Traverse City, try to get all over. Love Michigan. Been in the cannabis space quite a while as a med patient, over 10 years now. Been doing the politics since it became legal. I did collect signatures to get it on the ballot back in the day. But I was in the industry myself, so I kind of laid low for a while. But yeah, nowadays, started really getting into the politics scene with the for cannabis side through the Michigan Democratic Party Cannabis Caucus. We started years ago. I think it was actually 2016, 2018. We got our initial organizings off the ground. That's been a journey for sure. I'm currently the vice chair. Rest in peace to our beloved chair Zara Abbas. She did great work for the caucus the last couple of years, and the chair before her was my co-director of the Michael Thompson Clemency Project, Mike McCurdy. So he really kind of shifted the caucus into a criminal justice reform aspect, and that's where I wanted the caucus to be for a long time. It took a lot of work just to get it off the ground and kind of
Mike McCurdy, and he re-energized that whole thing. And then, as you said, you guys went on to do the Michael Thompson Clemency Project, which we'll have both you guys back on here to discuss, hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so. But I just want to interject.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. And so, the caucus has been around for a while. Mike kind of got the criminal justice approach, going on it. And so that caught my interest. It's hard for me to, be on the outside smoking medical cannabis, and then, you got people locked up on the inside. So that never really sat well with me, especially once you could start going to the store and buy it recreationally. That was just like, wow, something's not right here. So, on the campaign trail, we had Gretchen Whitmer pledge that she would free and pardon, cannabis prisoners, people for delivery, people for cultivation. So, we're working to hold her to that. Through the caucus, we've helped build a coalition called the Michigan Cannabis Freedom Coalition that really surrounded around the work of freeing all cannabis prisoners. But in particular, the first one was Michael Thompson, who was the longest serving nonviolent offender state of Michigan history, served 26 years for cannabis until his sentence was commuted in 21. And, Jamie's been there every step of the way, plugging the holes and just being a great ally in the fight. And so, through the caucus, we built this national coalition. It's got partners all over the country. Done a lot of good work there. And so, happy to kind of spin off. We want to hear more about MCFC. If we want to hear more about the caucus, it's kind of hard to separate them at times. Even like when you tell people, that they're two entities and they kind of spawn from the same efforts. They are somewhat different, as if MCFC is bipartisan. And then the other one is, through the Michigan Democratic Party, which has its restraints. for
It has
sure.
some independents and some others in it, but it is mainly a party type thing. But that's okay. That voice or that perspective is useful,
Yeah, yeah, especially because
for us.
Republicans really haven't come to the table on cannabis, even though there is support out there, and it is a bipartisan issue. I mean, and, I got a lot of friends on all sides of the aisle that, love weed. So, I think that it's super important, as we go into 2023 to keep broadening that support from all over, because everyone smokes weed. It's
And the policies of those organizations are, overlap for sure. And this issue is one of those that, foundationally appeals to the whole spectrum of political philosophies and, ideologies. Everybody on some level can kind of agree with rights and the fact that this plant hasn't produced any of the issues that were described, and so why are we being so restrictive and prohibitive with it? And there's just a lot of just core discussions that appeal to everybody on in that way. So I think we do get a lot of well-rounded support at times. Certainly, the fact that we still have people incarcerated for doing what many of us are doing right now
yeah, yeah,
is remains an issue.
that is the issue, and that's why, I was just in the UP 2 weeks ago, supported by MCFC, to represent a cannabis constituent, Terry Burkhead, 26-year-old, been down 4 years, on cannabis. It's crazy. And, he's small time seller. He said the time they busted him, he was literally selling a gram of weed. Like, come on, like what the? It's
Yeah.
hard to fathom that this is real, but it is. And so one thing that really helped, us in this effort was the Cannabis Caucus, helped get Dana Nessel elected. The cannabis community helped get her elected as well. And I know Jamie was a big part of that. Ryan Basor, myself, Mike McCurdy, the list goes on. Zara Boss, Leah, Skylar Dotson, really Rick Thompson. A lot of pivotal people got her elected. From a cannabis support. We got our people to show up for her, and she won twice now. And so what she did for us, though, was really powerful in that she wrote a letter of support to the parole board, saying, free Michael Thompson. It's a travesty this man's still behind bars. And the parole board, this is important because we haven't got this ever again. But the parole board said they've never seen this, and they never expect to see this again. Given a sitting attorney general write a letter of support to them, so that was a big deal coming from the state's top cop saying you got to let this guy go.
Just a little bit more background too, because there are national organizations, Last Prisoner Project, other groups, other concerned people that have been trying to get the word out about Michael Thompson for a long time, because it's just really ridiculous. I mean, a little bit of cannabis, and they found some guns that were totally unrelated, but then made a big deal about it and really like laid on the charges. And he ends up getting was a 40-year sentence or something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
42 to 60 year,
Yeah,
essential death sentence.
and right. So the point is, like, everybody knows this was just really ridiculous, but there's no action. Everybody's talking about it, pointing it out. There's no action. It was, the caucus getting to our attorney general, and our attorney general doing something substantive that really moved this forward. And then we got somebody out of prison, and you and I were there at like 4:20 in the morning on was it January of 21, I think.
January 28th of 21.
Yeah.
Much like today, today's January 26th.
Yep.
About this much snow on the ground, freezing cold. And they wanted to let him out at 4 a.m., so the press wasn't there, but the press was all over.
And then about 4:20, actually, ironically, is when he kind of came out, and we got to see him. I have a little personal video clip of him hugging his daughter, and just very deep moment. So now, before we wrap up, though, where are we with getting more people out? You brought up the guy in the UP. Is there a pending possibility that person gets freedom soon?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. He either gets out now, and it did help having me be there. They don't get that often. They even said as much. He was very thankful for the community support. And so where we're at now is we can hopefully get a couple one-offs here and there, but really the big effort that we need everyone to get involved with is we'll be launching really a pressure campaign on the governor to pardon uh, potentially up to 250,000 people in the state of Michigan with cannabis charges. And so this has been done following the lead of Governor Kate Brown of Oregon. She just signed a pardon for prior cannabis convictions. That was 45,000 people. Connecticut just did it. I just saw there's something brewing in Ohio about it, North Carolina. So, the states it's Maryland. They're really, it's a kind of a movement, if you will, to, based on what Biden said, his action didn't do tons of work. But it
You
did.
might make some governors feel more comfortable though. And
Exactly. And that's what it's
forward.
doing, so we got to get ours there. I think she's down. It's just, it's a stroke of a pen. That's really what it is.
And advocacy groups and people getting her the information, letting her know that it's a good move. And
Yeah,
we
exactly.
kind of wanted her and Dana to do more so far, but politics is really a bizarre, complex thing to have to discuss, and why some things that seem obvious aren't happening yet. That's a discussion, and that's a frustration that we all have from time to time in this arena. But we are seeing some things happening, and I know, I've certainly been involved and with the support of Meds Cafe. But Marshall, obviously, you're right on the forefront, doing a lot of great work. Appreciate you going several hours up north to be with somebody for their hearing. That stuff's really important. And as people come out, we can all celebrate that, and hopefully we'll get the mass, stroke of the pen, and people will be taken care of. But
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Jamie and
yeah.
Mez Cafe. Thank you. Jamie is pivotal in our policy work through the Michigan Cannabis Freedom Coalition. We got a deschedule bill introduced last year. Hopefully, we can get it back on the forefront now with the Dem majority to get it passed. I mean, that's I think that too. You said, how do we get the more people free, or do we got a chance? And I think if we get that deschedule bill through, then man, that goes a long ways in ending the war on drugs, at least in Michigan.
Having a discussion in some of these videos about the possible legislation and what it means should be a focal point too. That's a good idea. Maybe, we can regroup on that kind of a discussion too, because there's some interesting stuff there. But, point being, we're making some progress. We have a long way to go, but if not for the energy and the thought and the time we put into this stuff, it likely doesn't even really get considered as much. And so everybody can feel good that we're making some stuff happen, and look forward to having more conversations with you on this stuff in the future. Marshall, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I look forward to getting to a Meds Cafe. Gotta get myself to a store. I grew up near Lowell, so familiar roots.
Absolutely, be glad to have you there for sure, man. And we'll come back and do more of these, and with Marshall and other people, and just appreciate everybody's time, and see you next time around. Thanks a lot again.
Have a good day.
And okay.